everyone, this is Eugene Roddenberry.
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
This is Leonard Crowfoot.
This is Dr. Aaron McDonald, Star Trek Science Advisor and Lieutenant Commander McDonald on Star Trek Prodigy.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek.
Humanist Trek.
You're listening to Humanist Trek.
the Humanist Trek podcast.
And you're listening to Humanist Trek, a fabulous, fabulous show.
Enjoy.
And don't worry, you can do your Temporal Mechanics 101 homework later.
Back on the bridge, they get another call from Graves World.
Graves World! Graves World! Party on!
Clear.
All right! Woo!
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Welcome aboard. Jean-Luc Picard to the Starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
And it's enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the Starship Enterprise.
But you can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Jolan True, and welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a comedy Star Trek podcast, as Allie yawns about the humanism in Star Trek.
So sorry.
I'm Sarah Ray.
I'm a very sleepy Allie Ashmead. We started early.
We did. This is the second episode of Recording Marathon Sunday, and we started way earlier than we normally do. Something else we don't normally do is try to put a time on the episode in the real world universe, but I'm going closer and closer to getting rid of that as a prime directive for our podcast. Because first of all, we break it often, just like Star Trek and the Prime Directive. And second, there are shit happening in the news that is so relevant that connects to a lot of the things Star Trek was trying to tell us. So I guess I packed my gavel already. But I hereby declare us no longer avoiding putting a time on an episode. So I want to talk about Adriana Smith in Georgia.
Oh.
This is the pregnant woman who was declared brain dead and then forced to be kept on life support because she was pregnant and the state has an anti-abortion law.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ.
She had the right... This is real dark and deep right off the jump of the episode. Stick with us, kids. She had the right to die and not have her body used as an incubator. The fetus did not have the right to, as Picard puts it in this episode, usurp the rights of another. That fetus was birthed at 1 pound, 13 ounces. And immediately went into neonatal ICU. So you forced a life into the world, but now what? What of its life? Now you have a baby who will likely need a lifelong health care for issues that will plague them.
Right.
Physical and mental. And the same people who want to force you to birth every egg ever fertilized and half the ones that weren't.
They're not going to take care of that baby.
No, they're not. They are working overtime right now to take away every assistance program that we've put in place that would give that child any kind of fighting chance in this world. I find it cruel and selfish.
Yeah. I feel the same about just abortion in general. When a mother or a soon-to-be mother makes a decision to say, I can't have this baby. I can't bring this baby into the world. I can't support it. But then the people on the other side of the aisle are saying, oh, well, we're pro-life. Oh, so what does that mean, though?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just meaning that baby comes out alive and then you say, fuck off? I don't want my taxes to pay for these systems that support foster kids or support kids who are not wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not right. And that's the thing that pisses me off so much is they want to tell you what to do with your body, but then they're not going to offer any help.
Yeah, you should also have to burden every consequence of that.
Right.
which has been forced upon you.
When they don't want it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I'm furious that this woman's body was used.
Yeah.
Used.
No, I mean, she couldn't consent, obviously. And even her family, did they want to, like, let her go?
The mother said, "It's torture for me. I see my daughter breathing, but she's not there."
Mm-hmm. It's not fair.
She said it should have been left up to the family.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice.
Exactly.
And she's absolutely right.
So the government made a choice, and that's not really fucking right.
This week, Data doesn't get to make that choice. So let's get into Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2, Episode 6, The Schizoid Man.
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? I've got something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir. It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse comm.
Number 1, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number 1, keep them out of my way.
Pulaski kicks off this episode with a medical log talking about Ira Graves, arguably the greatest human mind in the universe. And like most great minds on Star Trek, he's become a recluse in his old age, hiding away on some remote planet doing research. She says that Graves' assistant made a 911 call for medical assistance and then hung up and went radio silent. So we've got lights and sirens on the D and running all the red lights on our way to this mission.
And instead of being the Uber, this time they're the ambulance.
We're the first responders, right? On the bridge, we're 36 minutes away, and Picard says, like, this dude is super important to Starfleet because of his work on molecular cybernetics, which is reaching a critical stage, I guess. But Pulaski's like, I'm a doctor. I treat all my patients equally, even if they're celebrities.
Meanwhile, another little side scene, Troy and Geordi are in the corridor, and they're heading to Data's quarters because Data's asked to see them both, and they don't know why, other than he said something about his new image and that he's been acting a little strange. Geordi says, sometimes I think he's becoming more human than any of us realize, because he's worried about his image, and computers and, androids don't worry about image. So they get to Data's quarters, and Data has his back to them, and he's looking in the mirror.
This is a great reveal.
Oh my God. And they're like, hey, you wanted to see us? And he's like, yes, but actually I kind of wanted you to see me. And they come in and they come around the corner and they see Data's reflection in the mirror. He's got a fucking beard. Like, he's got a Riker style beard and goatee. And LaForge is like, did you damage your face?
Data's rather impressed with his new beard. He thinks it commands respect and projects dignity. And when he starts stroking his beard thusly and asks if this makes me appear more intellectual, Troy giggles like a fucking schoolgirl and runs out of the room. Surely she would have been more professional than this. This was I don't like this bit of her character, that she can't hold it back. Come on.
The silliness of it. They could have done it. They could have kept the silliness, but still had her be Troy,
Yeah.
But, it is what it is.
Back on the bridge, they get another call from Graves World.
Graves World! Graves World! Party on!
And we're clear.
All right! Woo!
Another very short 911 call for medical attention by Graves' assistant. They try to call back, but there's no answer, and apparently these two are the only people living on this planet. Man, that must be nice.
Man,
I want to not have any neighbors.
I guess. I don't know.
I've been thinking so much about moving to the country and eating a lot of peaches that I want my neighbors a couple acres that way, and that way, and that way, and that way.
I don't know. I like my neighbors. I love my neighbors.
I like my neighbors too, but if they were a mile that away, we'd still be cool. We'd still, light up on the front porch together.
Maybe.
Just saying, I want a little room to spread out.
Yeah.
Why not stroke the beard thusly?
Do I not appear more intellectual?
I'm sorry, I have to go now. Goodbye.
After the theme, another call comes through from a ship near Gravesworld. It seems to be the USS Constantinople, a transport ship carrying 2,012 colonists, and they've got a hull breach and environmental system failures. So now we've got ourselves a classic needs of the many, needs of the few, or the one problem. And Pulaski is on team many here. She's like, I don't care what, Graves' stats are as the starting quarterback. He's just one dude, and I will pick 2012 over one dude any day.
Well, that's good of her. And Picard says, hey, we can do both. So while they're playing Galaxy First Responders, we could probably do both. And Riker's like, hey, why don't we execute this maneuver that I've never fucking heard of?
Nope.
He's like, why don't we execute a long-range transport of an away team to assist with Dr. Graves at the earliest possible moment? We come out of warp just long enough to energize the beam, and then we're off again. And then Picard calls this maneuver a touch and go down warping.
This is a real Kirk handles the Kobayashi Maru sort of answer to the trolley problem, right? The trolley is coming down the track, and if you don't do anything, it'll kill 2012 people.
Mm-hmm.
If you go throw the switch, it won't kill those people. It'll kill one other person, and you are left to decide which one dies, the many or the few or the one. And Kirk's solution to the Kobayashi Maru was cheat the test, and Picard chooses cheat the test here too. Let's do both. Let's build a third track.
Yeah.
And send the trolley down that way.
Give our own options. And so basically this is going to be like someone jumping out of a moving car. This is what they're trying to do, is to warp.
And then the driver mashes the gas pedal as soon as their foot leaves the car door or whatever.
They slow down just enough for the people to not break their neck when they jump out, but then they gun it.
Okay. You have a faster than light travel technology. You have to drop your first Uber off at this place and then quickly jump to the next. So we hit the brakes, stop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go.
Yeah.
Would your response to the ship of the 2000 have been that much different had you stayed there for 60 seconds instead of 5 seconds?
I don't even know why they chose to put this into the episode, because
Right?
they could have just said, we're going to stop at this planet, drop you off, and then head to warp to whatever. Like, what difference did it make a few minutes?
Right.
This part made no sense to be in there, but
maybe they did this so that they could do Deanna real dirty here. I hated this. This did not hold up for me. They've got the team loaded up on the transporter pad.
Mhm.
Troy, Worf, Data, who is sans beard now, and a new medical officer, Solar, who will be handling this mission while Pulaski handles the transport ship problem.
Mhm.
Solar is played by the great Susie Plaxton, who returns later as Worf's ex/baby mama, and Q, and an Andorian. Jordy reminds everyone that this stop and go near warp transport will feel a little different than a normal transport. And when Troy's like, wait, what? Riker's like, you'll see. Boop, energize. I mean, I know they're out of time here and we got to beam out real fast, but that's a shitty thing to do to somebody who clearly is expressing an anxiety about a thing.
Right.
Like if you're scared to go on the roller coaster and a kid's freaking out and the operator just goes, you'll figure it out, kid. Boop. That ain't the right way to handle anxiety.
The whole thing was just unnecessary. Like it was just silly.
Yeah,
But-
they could have just calmly beamed down like any other transport.
and then warped away.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's kind of like jumping out of a moving car. and then the energy of the car and momentum will carry you forward. And so when they arrive at Graves World, Deanna's like, I feel like I was gonna be stuck in a wall for a moment, and Worf says, well, for a moment you were.
The house is pretty quiet at first because nobody was expecting them to drop by, but soon they encounter Graves' pretty young assistant, Kareen Brianon, played by Barbara Allen Woods.
I want to love you, hey, wetty, pretty young thing. Yeah, she's super young.
Yeah. She appeared on a lot of shit. Her more well-known work includes 66 episodes of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show. I was a big fan of the first movie, and then after that, sequels do what sequels do. I don't think I watched the TV show.
I didn't think I knew there was a TV show, so yeah, no.
106 episodes of One Tree Hill.
Didn't watch
which
it.
is not a show that I got into either, and the 1996 hit film Striptease with Demi Moore.
Vaguely remember. I was really young. Actually, 96, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I was a junior in high school.
I wasn't that. I mean, I was a grown woman at that point, had a job, and I think I was married. But I didn't leave that much of an impression.
It turns out Kareen made the 911 call from the front hall closet with the phone cord stretched all the way down the hall, like we used to have to do to have some privacy, because she didn't want Graves to know that she was calling. Because, again, he is the cranky old scientist trope turned to 11, so he storms in, grumbling and growling and complaining. And she's like, really, he's not well.
The symptoms that has is just pain, shortness of breath, and irritability that Kareen reports. But Graves says that that's ridiculous. He's as healthy as a regalian ox. And of course, he goes and proceeds to insult every single one of them as they introduce themselves. So Solar is the doctor. She introduces herself as the doctor, and he says, no offense, but I don't want you touching me. I don't like people, but I don't like doctors either. Troy says, well, doctors are people, but he's like, no, you're wrong. Ask any patient. And then he sees her and he's like, oh, well, what have we got here?
Yeah, he elevator eyes Solar.
And then he also does that to Troy, and I felt like I was back in TOS. Like when he goes to Troy and he's like, well, what have we got here? A lovely specimen of womanhood. Jesus Christ.
No, this whole episode, and remember, we're dealing with writer strike still at this point, I believe. So we're like using episodes that had already been written. So yeah, this smacks so hard of TOS.
Troy's like, well, I thought you didn't like people. He's like, women aren't people. They're women. And that's something straight out of 1967.
Yeah. Oh, and he kisses her on the hand. Blah.
Blah.
Ira Graves is played by William Morgan Shepard, who played a Klingon in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, an alien in Voyager, and a Vulcan science minister in Star Trek 2009.
Oh, wow.
He was in some of our other favorites too, Allie. Max Headroom, we've talked about before.
I love him.
Hi there.
He was in Doctor Who in 2011.
Oh, let me think. I wonder, did they say what role did he play? Did he play a Dalek? No. Now that's sounding familiar.
Searching.
William Morgan Shepard, the British film, television, and voice actor, played the older version of a Canton Everett Delaware III in the Doctor Who television story, The Impossible Astronaut. So he played the flash forward future version of another character on that episode.
Okay. I don't know. But cool.
Anywho.
Did he play on anything else? Or
it's page after page of credits. This guy was in everything.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Kareen looks at Worf and she's trying to figure out what he is. Like, what's your ethnicity? No.
Fatal error, honey.
Oh, no. I've had people hate it when they do that. Like when someone looks at me and like, what are you? Like, bitch, I'm human.
Right?
I have had that happen when I was younger. I did have that happen. But she's like, "Are you a Romulan?" He's like upset.
He's like,
I would kill you where you stand.
but she's never been off-world before, so she just doesn't have the experience with non-humans. Ira tells her Worf's a Klingon. And although Klingons and Romulans look very different, they're pretty much act the same. And Worf's like,
If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand.
how dare you?
Graves calls him Mr. Klingon. And he's like, no insult intended, Mr. Klingon. Worf said this under his breath, but he's like, there's nothing wrong with my hearing, Graves says, because I heard you from all the way over there.
Graves has a very comedic twinge of pain. The way his eyes and his face twist up when he goes into this like comedic turn. It was so funny. But then it passes quickly and he goes over to Data and turns his head a bit. And he's like, sloppy, shoddy garbage. This must be Soong's work. And Data's like, whoa, you know my dad?
While they're talking, Solar is doing a medical scan.
I love that.
It's irritating the shit out of Graves, but he's talking to Data about how he knows Soong.
He says he taught Soong everything he knows.
He says, that kind of makes me your grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Solar is got the results of her tricorder scans, and it knocks the wind out of the whole room. Graves has Darnay's disease in its final stage, and it is terminal.
Now remember, this is a near-warp transport, so the effects may be a little unusual.
What do you mean?
You'll see, Counselor. Energize.
Wait a minute, I don't understand.
Back on the D, we don't get to see any of this, but that side quest to go to the transport ship turned out to be really easy. Ship repaired, minor injuries bandaged up. So they're headed back to Graves World.
Graves World! Graves World!
I did some reading, and I didn't find anything explaining why the D went on this side quest instead of them just going straight to Graves World. Like, maybe they thought it wouldn't be believable that the D could sneak up on Graves without him knowing that they're coming on a long-range transponder or something,
The only thing is that I can think of right now is that, okay, they've introduced a new character who is a medical doctor, so they had to have a reason to send her instead of Pulaski.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of.
This whole side quest felt completely unnecessary and distracting to me. In Graves' lab, Data is poking around with some computers while Graves whistles "If I Only Had a Heart" from The Wizard of Oz, although he is clearly unwell. He's like coughing and struggling to speak sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Data is unfamiliar with this particular tune, and when Ira, who insists now that Data call him Grandpa, explains it's an old Earth song about a mechanical man whose only wish is to be human. Sound familiar, Data?
Mm-hmm.
Data's like, yeah, what happened to this mechanical man? How'd that story end? And Graves explained he learned he was human all along. He just was so worried about being human that he never realized it. And this kicks off another branch on Data's quest for humanity tree. Graves thinks it must be hard for Data to be so close to being human, but not know something as simple as pain, lust, envy, pleasure, desire. He says, Data, do you know what desire is? And Data starts to say, well, this one time.
At band camp.
Data, I'm only going to tell you this just once. It never happened.
And so Graves says he pities him because his existence must be some sort of walking purgatory. He's not dead or alive. He doesn't feel anything. He just exists. And he says, a dying man takes the time to mourn a man who will never know death. Isn't that funny? But then Data says, well, by the way, I have been having difficulty trying to figure out what's funny and what funny is.
If you put funny teeth in your mouth and jump around like an idiot, that is considered funny.
Graves is like, yeah, I did see that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
But back in the other room, Solar is giving an estimate on how long he's got left. He's got about a week left, maybe at best. This disease is attacking his brain.
Brain! What is brain?
And his nervous system. And, you see that erratic behavior, it's gonna get worse. Troy takes this moment to tell Kareen, he's very attracted to you.
Can I just say, he's got romantic feelings for his friend's young daughter. And when you say it like that...
It sounds ick. It feels ick.
It's like creep factor. And this just it bothers me watching it now with the humanist goggles on in a way that it never did before. And I don't know, maybe I'm way off the mark here. She suggests that she's felt the same for him. If only she were older, maybe they could have been something.
Ick.
So it's not just the age thing for me. I think age is a number, and consenting adults should be able to do whatever. But in this case, there's a power dynamic, as there often is, that isn't addressed. Not only is she his assistant, which suggests a workplace power dynamic, she came to live with him when she was very young, so he kind of raised her, and that's creepy. Didn't we see that in TOS?
Yes, that was that one episode where that's almost same situation.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is creepy. This is wrong. But
Yeah. Back in Graves' lab, he and Data continue talking about death, or more specifically, dodging death, because Graves thinks he's figured out how to transfer his knowledge into a computer, which is sitting nearby his desk. But when the subject turns back to Data's ability to understand death, it becomes clear that the Hewlett-Packard 486SX in the room isn't exactly the computer he intends to transfer himself into. He baits Data into talking about his own death, and in this, Data divulges his off switch, which renders him unconscious, basically dead. And he's like, I don't enjoy thinking about that, actually.
Graves is like, by the way, how do you, just where would Sung put this off switch on you? Oh, he's like, no, don't tell me. Let me guess.
The D arrives in orbit, and Solar says she doesn't want to interrupt Graves and Data. They seem to be really having a moment, but we need to get Graves to sickbay pretty quickly. And just then, Data appears through the laboratory doors to announce that Dr. Graves died in his arms just a few moments ago.
Oh my god! They've killed
Ira Graves.
you, bastards!
It's an ancient little tune called If I Only Had a Heart. A plaintive lament sung by a mechanical man who longs to be human. It's his only wish.
What happens to this man?
He finds out he's human after all. Always was.
While a captain's log describes the loss of a great man along with the secrets he may have been about to uncover, we see another great shot from inside the ship as it jumps to warp from inside 10 forward. So now we're headed to the closest starbase so that Kareen can move on to whatever is next for her.
And they're going to give Graves some sort of funeral or something, which is basically blow the body out of an airlock, I guess. I don't.
There's a debriefing taking place in the ready room. Riker wants to know why Data didn't call Dr. Solar when he realized Graves was starting to die, and Data's basically like, well, she couldn't have done anything anyway. And he says, all things must pass, right? Which does not sound much like Data.
No.
So there's a little red flag there.
He's also in a hurry to get out of the room. He's like, can I go? You need me for anything? Can I go?
Data finds Kareen in 10 forward, and here it becomes very clear that something is up. Kareen is looking out a window and talks about how incredible the stars are on this Windows 95 screensaver. Do you remember that? The Starfield screensaver? Maybe we all fucking used the Starfield and thought we were on Star Trek.
Yeah.
A Data who has pretty much lost all of Data's classic mannerisms now.
And he's turning on the creep factor he's dialing it up to 1,000.
Oh, you always were a stargazer. And he talks about how Ira thought she was so beautiful and he wanted to tell her. He just, there was that whole inappropriate age, power dynamic thing. And so, he just couldn't say it. And it's not said again, but she seems to think all of this comes out of the last few hours that Data spent with Ira. Like maybe Ira told him all these things about her. That's how she's justifying this weird behavior.
Data, or artist formerly known as Data, kind of forgets himself for just a second. He reaches out, intent forward in front of everyone, and is about to like stroke her hair in such an intimate way, but then he pulls back and stops.
No doubt about it now, that boy's been body snatched.
Mm-hmm. In the transporter room, it's time for a funeral. They put him in some sort of case.
Yeah, this is a photon torpedo casing, isn't it?
I guess. And then they put him in some sort of like hoodie.
It looked like an outfit we've seen before.
Yeah. He's got like the thing over his head, and it's in a coffin with a window, basically.
Riker, Troy, Solar, Wesley, and Kareen are here for the funeral services. And there's Data right up front with his hands clasped in front of him and his head bowed. And he's got a little smirk on his face, if you look close. But everybody else is just standing normally. So again, another little red flag.
I'm surprised I didn't get lore vibes, because this is total lore vibe.
Mm-hmm. And then the big red flag, Data gives his own eulogy. And this is just, it's like a big red flag after a big red flag after a big red flag. There's a pile of big red flags in the middle of the room. And now everybody's starting to notice, because this is clearly the egotistical ramblings of a man who thought very highly of himself. He just goes on and on and on. To know him is to love him. To love him is to know him. To know him is to love him.
And those who knew him loved him, while those who did not know him loved him from afar. And Picard's like, okay, Data, come on. That's enough. And they now commit the body of Ira Graves to the timeless depths of space, so they shoot him out into space.
Kareen is crying next to Picard, and Data is like slightly behind them. And when Picard puts his arm around her to comfort her, Data's face, oh my.
I want to commend just Brent Spiner as how he is able to convey so much, being Data and, sort of no emotion, and then being Data while being this other person.
Yeah.
Which is it's amazing.
It's the Russian nesting doll of Datas.
Yeah.
In the ready room, Picard and Data are having a chat about the last scene, and Data says, I was just trying to carry out the last wishes of my dying grandpa. And Picard's like, okay, listen, maybe don't try so hard to be human. Just be yourself and let history make its own judgments.
Rhetorical nonsense.
Data walks out of the room after he's dismissed by Picard. A female crew person walks by. He looks at her ass, and he gets into the turbo lift whistling If I Only Had a Heart from The Wizard of Oz.
He is Ira Graves.
Yeah.
There's no question now.
Nope.
I can safely say that to know him was to love him. And to love him was to know him. Those who knew him loved him, while those who did not know him loved him from afar.
Data.
I am almost finished, sir.
You are finished, Data.
Picard enters a log confirming that he's now suspicious of Data's behavior, and he and Troy are having a hallway walk and talk about this. He says Data assures him he'll go back to normal, but both of them remain skeptical. Maybe something about his visit with Graves, perhaps this whole grandfather thing got to Data. Maybe Data connected with that, and this death affected him in some way we didn't realize that Data was capable of, right? Like what Geordi said before, maybe he's more human than we realize. Back on the bridge, Wesley and Data are chatting, and this is clearly not our Data. Wesley comments on Data's speech at the funeral service, and Data's like, boy, your childlike mind cannot appreciate my genius.
Data would never belittle Wesley like that.
Never. And Riker kind of plays into this conversation, maybe not yet realizing what's going on, and he asks, Data, you're not turning into a philosopher, are you? To know him is to love him is to know him. And Data's like, I am many things. Scholar, artist, philosopher, pause for effect, lover, genius.
Wesley like, hang on, Data, fuck off. What's wrong? What is wrong with you? But they don't ever get to finish that conversation because Kareen and Picard come into the bridge. And of course, she's looking at the view screen and she's mesmerized. And of course, Picard's just showing her around and flexing. You know, I'm the captain and this is my ship. And she's like, I thought you'd enjoy the bridge. Because he says, I'm aware of your interest in science. And then Data, under his breath, says, yes, and I'm aware of your interest in her. And Picard's like, what did you say to me, motherfucker? And he's like, oh, nothing, sir, nothing.
Under his breath, Data, very emotionally, is to still talking shit. He's like, I wish they would just come out and admit it. And Picard did hear that. And he's like, admit what, Data? And Data turns in his chair and accuses Picard of having the hots for Kareen. You can't win her from me. She doesn't like older men. And then he turns to Riker, or men of limited intellect. Burn!
Oh my goodness. Picard's like, okay, you get in there right now. We need to fucking talk. As they're going into the ready room, Troy, picks up on some vibes that she's feeling jealousy, intense burning jealousy. It's a human emotion, but it's coming from Data?
This exchange in the ready room drops a few more hints as to what's actually happened here. Picard suggests something is clearly wrong with Data's circuitry. And Data says, that is ridiculous. I am as healthy as a Regalian ox. Where have we heard that before?
I know. But Picard didn't hear it. The audience knows it, but Picard didn't hear it. And as he comes in to his own ready room, Data's like, are you here to apologize to me? Oh, really?
Yeah, there's that
Come on.
ego.
There's not Data, y'all.
Picard first says, I should take you to sickbay, but that probably wouldn't do any good. And Data's like, why, Captain? Are you ill?
But Picard's like, I'm getting there. But no, I need to take you to engineering. I need to have someone who's capable of running a full circuit check on you. So
we've had this conversation before. This, are Data's issues a medical or an engineering issue? And I like that it came up again in a what's actually happening with Data that would make it, emotional or mechanical, and trying to just discern that and figure out which direction to go.
Yeah.
Data's like, I can do my own self-tests. I can do my self-diagnostics. And he does this very unbelievable, like closing his eyes, counting to 5, and then opening them again. Like, nope, I'm good. Everything's fine.
See, I checked.
Yep.
Well, and for the first time, Picard's like, I don't believe you. So off they go to engineering, where he's having Geordi put this like thing around his head.
I love this effect.
Yeah.
It's like this blue light ring thing that encircles Data. I thought it was great.
And Data doesn't want to hold still.
He's like rolling his eyes and sighing heavily. He's like the bored teenager or whatever.
Exactly. Geordi finally is able to do what he needs to do. And then they finish and Picard asks Data to wait for him in the corridor. But Data, still being the teenager, why? Why do I gotta wait? This concerns me. But he leaves anyway at Picard's insistence. And he's like, okay, his insubordination is just out of control.
But Geordi admits he's not finding anything wrong with Data physically. So Troy suggests if his physical health is okay, maybe we need to look at his mental health after all. So she goes down to Data's quarters and she's attaching these little devices to his forehead and talking about the psychotronic stability exam that they all had to take at the academy. And this is complete and utter bullshit.
They made this shit up on the spot. But Data's like, well, it was a waste of time then, it was a waste of time now.
Oh, he's just so grouchy.
Yeah.
So how this works is it's going to flash a bunch of images on the screen and then record Data's responses to them. And this reminds me of the study where they put a bunch of people in the study and showed them different images, some with positive connotations and some with negative, right?
Mhm.
So you'd see a smiling child, a sunny field, or you would see, a puppy that had been run over, or a picture of war, or something
my
like
God.
that, right?
Mhm.
And they cross-reference that with like an independent survey of where those people rated themselves on a scale of extremely liberal to extremely conservative. And
Mhm.
what they found was, by showing all of these images, the people whose brain lit up more at the negative imagery were more likely to self-place themselves on the very conservative end of the scale.
Mhm.
And so, the conclusion you draw from that, more studies need to be done, of course, but the early conclusion is that negative imagery and conservative mindset have some kind of connection.
Mm.
We don't know what that is, but that's what they're doing here. She's like showing him all these pictures. Here's a puppy. Here's a kitty. Here's a planet that was destroyed by the Death Star. And record his reactions to those images. And these images include
Tasha.
his old booth thing.
Mhm.
There's a baby. There's people kissing. The D, Ira, waterfalls, planets, all kinds of shit. But also Kareen.
Mhm.
And so these images start flipping faster and faster. And as the faster it goes, the further it goes, the more his face shows emotion. In the ready room, Picard has called Geordi up because he's Data's best friend. And Geordi thinks maybe Data's quest to be more human has just gotten the better of him, caused him to break or something. But Troy comes in with disturbing news. Her tests show two disparate personalities within Data, a Dom and a sub.
Data is the sub.
Yeah, the Dom is unstable, brilliant but vain, sensitive but paranoid, and prone to irrationality. Where have we seen that before?
And Picard says, "Of course," and he's getting it, but he says nothing. Don't pay attention to me. He didn't want to mention it to Troy or Geordi just yet. But Troy goes on to say that the Dom seems to have a particularly strong hatred of you, Captain Picard, or any authority figure, and it's growing. And this Dom is getting stronger. It's going to gobble up what's left of Data. So they're going to have to do something, or otherwise they're going to lose Data forever.
I wish they would just come out and admit it.
Admit what, Mr. Data?
That your interest in Kareen is not purely professional. Try as you will, you cannot win her heart. She does not care for older men.
We've arrived at Starbase 6 to drop off Kareen, and Picard's log suggests that he's connected the dots now between Data's behavior and Graves' experiments. Picard and Troy are doing another walk and talk, and he asks about Data's whereabouts. And she's like, well, he's in his quarters. You ordered him to go stay there. But a quick check with Majel GPT shows the Data is in fact in 10 forward, not following Picard's orders. So Picard sends Worf down there to keep an eye on Data. Don't interfere, just, keep an eye, just tail him. And in the meantime, Picard calls Dr. Solar to his ready room to try to learn more about what happened on Graves' World.
Graves World! Graves World!
In 10 forward, Data is talking to Kareen, and he basically just comes clean with her, and he's like, don't you think we need to stop pretending you know who I am? You know that it's Ira Graves. And she's like, how did you do that? Worf comes in, Data sees him, but doesn't acknowledge him. But then he's like, I deactivated invented Data and transferred my mind into his. And she's upset. She's upset with this. And she's like, they're going to try to stop you. You're not going to get away with this. But he's like, it's my body now.
Picard, Troy, and Solar are in the ready room, and he asks the doctor about that away mission. How much time did Data and Graves spend together? Were they always alone? And finally, what was your impression of Graves? And Solar says he seemed brilliant, egocentric, arrogant, chauvinistic. And Picard turns to Troy and says, sound like anyone else you know?
Mm-hmm.
So back in 10 Forward, Graves is holding her hand now as he describes to Kareen his experience in this new body. All the pain is gone, and now he can live forever. Think of all the amazing things I can accomplish if I'm an immortal. And now she's started dropping tears, and he mistakes this as her thinking that he's going to be immortal, but she won't. And so he's like, no, it's cool. I'll make you an android body too. That way we can be immortal together and witness the end of time. But that's not what she wants at all. He says he can finally love her now. He was too old and weak before, but now they can finally be together and it won't be weird.
Sorry, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to be put into a machine. She wants to live her life, and as things get more emotional, he's, gripping her hand to the point where he's about to break her fucking hand.
Yeah. She's like, Ira, stop. You're hurting me. And to his credit, he does let go. And then he gets up and runs away because that kind of shook him a little. And of course, Worf calls up Picard to let him know Data's on the move.
I'm telling Captain Picard.
Picard tells Worf to stand by. He's going to go handle this himself. And he muses about Ira. He was an expert in cybernetics. Perhaps our memorial service was a bit premature. Maybe he's still alive some way. And, of course, he quotes some Shakespeare. Picard realizes now that if Ira bridged the gap between man and machine and then walked across that bridge and put himself into a machine, Picard may be forced to tear down that bridge. Mr. Gorbachev.
We were going to say the same thing.
Tear down that bridge.
I remember that.
In engineering, Data is casually leaning on the railing in the upper level by the warp core. And before we see Picard, Data announces that his superhuman android hearing has already detected the sound of Picard approaching. And so Picard arrives on the lower level, and he's like, I know it. I know all the story now. I know everything that happened, Ira. I want to talk to Data, though. I came down here to talk to Data. And Ira's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So instead, Picard tries to appeal to Ira's humanity a little. I get it. You were desperate, man. And desperate people do desperate shit. Like, you were shocked about learning that you were dying, so you did something desperate. But you had no right to body snatch my second officer. Well, in this trolley problem, Ira considers himself immeasurably more valuable as a human being over the mechanical being, Data. He says there's no question who must live and what must die.
Ooh.
And he's like, Data's just a walking tin can with circuits for intestines. Without a heart, a man is meaningless. So Picard goes up to the upper deck, and then we see Geordi, and there's Geordi and another engineer knocked out on the floor. And Picard's like, I don't think this was part of your plan. Encountering Data was just a coincidence. So what were you going to do with your brain and brain? What is brain? And he said he couldn't resist this idea of transferring into Data, but now something has gone horribly wrong, and now you're hurting people. That's not Ira Graves, is it? You're not the kind of guy to hurt people. And to further poke that bear, Picard calls up sickbay to ask on the status report of Kareen, and we learn that it is fractured in 2 places, fractured by Graves.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to be visibly upset upon hearing this, because he really does care about her.
Picard goes ahead and says, too, well, there's 2 more injuries in engineering, so you're hurting people, even though you may not have intended to. But Data Graves, Grave Data, it says, but they're all accidents. I didn't intend to hurt anyone. And then Picard demands that he gives Data up. And he's like, no, I live here now. I'm not leaving.
Picard says one of the writer's favorite lines, "How many more? How many more accidents?" Picard tries to get Graves to accept his mortality, and when that doesn't work, to accept Data as a unique type of life form. Picard says Data's different, sure, but that does not make him expendable or any less significant. No being is so important that he can usurp the rights of another. Now set him free. Boy, do I wish we lived in a timeline where that were all true.
Yeah.
Graves knocks Picard on his ass, and now he's unconscious too. And maybe this is a sobering moment for Ira. You know, when you've done something while like you're blindly affected by your emotions and your rage or whatever, and the emotion just suddenly clears after you've done a dumb thing, and you're like, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
That's Ira right now.
Yeah. Well, we don't get to see him come to that decision, but the next scene, we see Data in his quarters lying on the floor. And Geordi and Picard and Karine and even Dr. Pulaski are all around him and trying to wake him up. And he wakes up.
I love this. Geordi, calls to him a couple of times. And after a quick power on self test, Data's eyes pop open and they do another vaudeville bit. Data says, "May I ask a question?" And Geordi says, "You just did." And Data's like, "Okay, may I ask another question after this one?" And this is who's on first, hilarious vaudeville.
Yep. He asked, why am I laying on the floor in this undignified position? And why is everyone standing around me looking concerned?
Geordi helps him up, and Karine notices a display monitor flashing text nearby, and she determines this must be Ira. He must have transferred himself from Data to the computer. And Picard's log suggests that only his knowledge was transferred, though, not his consciousness. So we don't need to worry about him taking over the D or anything.
We hope.
That'll be a different episode. Time for a bit of comedy on this week's Chair Chat. Wesley and Data are chatting at their stations. Wesley asks Data if he remembers anything, which he doesn't. And Wesley quotes his eulogy back at him. "To know him is to love him is to know him? Come on, Data." And Data's like, "I don't remember that. Maybe that's a good thing, though. Surely I didn't do anything unbecoming of a Starfleet officer, right?" And Riker's like, "Well, do you remember anything about wrestling a Klingon targ?" And as Wesley takes us off to the next adventure, Data turns and asks, "Did I win?" Off to the next adventure.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
There is so much in this episode. Data's quest to understand humanity better and become more human himself is a lot more frequent in this series than I remember it being. We've spent a lot of time poking at the Tin Man that wants to be a real boy idea.
Yeah. It seems like it's almost every episode. There's something.
Yeah. We never come back to the beard, though. Data grows this beard at the top of the episode, and then
he only has it for a second, and then I'm like, why didn't he keep it? That would have been more funny throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, I wanted a better payoff to that. And I kind of wish that Data had remembered more of what was happening while he was partitioned off and been able to comment on it as an outsider, or I guess inside observer.
Yeah.
That could have given him more insight into humanity, I think. If while this guy was in his head, he was there witnessing it all happening and unable to do anything about it, I think would have given him, that would have been, I don't know, I would think I would have liked that better.
Yeah, yeah. Because Graves' whole deal was just not wanting to accept death.
Yes.
And which is something that we humans struggle with all the time, is just not wanting to accept that we're not going to be here forever. And that was his way of using data to try to live forever. And then as humans, we make up things like, heaven and and hell.
All kinds of afterlife ideas, reincarnation, and
just because we don't want to accept that we will be gone.
And in this case, Graves found some hope to continue living in a mechanical body, but at what cost? And Picard shouts this, but isn't given a lot of time to dwell about. No being is so important that he can usurp the rights of another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we fight constantly in present day. We talked about this at the top of the episode.
The young lady who was kept on life support so that this baby can be born.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they didn't let the family choose, regardless of what they would have chosen.
Yeah.
They didn't let them have a choice.
Yeah. So there's an argument here that Picard is making that, Data should have autonomy.
Right.
And this is also a pearl on a long string of pearls this season of the question of Data's personhood and kind of building a case towards Data being a unique, alive, living, autonomous individual who should have rights. And of course, we know that's coming to a head here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But it's, there's breadcrumbs in like every episode of this season.
But I think that whole thing is just the basis of what Star Trek is. It's how we treat other living things, like having respect for their form of life, period.
Yeah. Did anybody die in this episode?
Oh, yeah. Some people die. Well, just one person.
Graves, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a rhyme about it. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Here it goes.
We're here together to honor our friend and comrade. We will all find time to grieve for her in the days that are ahead. But for now, she has asked that we celebrate her life with this.
Well, let me tell you about Graves. He was old and twisted, saw a chance to live forever, and he couldn't resist it. A transfer, a mind melt, a digital leap. But Data's positronic brain had secrets to keep. He talking about poetry, spitting Shakespeare lines, but his movements, his manner, they were crossing the line. But everybody knew that something wasn't right. But Ira wasn't giving up without a fight. They fought him, they reasoned, they tried to get through. But giving Data back was the right thing to do. But Graves finally came to the realization becoming part of the computer was his salvation.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you.
I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money?
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
All right. Well, as always, we want to thank all of our patrons who support the show. A special thank you to our founding admirals at patreon.com/humanisttrek. A special thanks to Allie, Peter, Sarah, Bruce, and the Bear and Cured podcast. Thank you so much for supporting this silly podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind. Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Becca's back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge for the Schizoid Man. Remind us the question, please.
In this episode, we see a multi-person landing party with what interestingly random demographics?
That's right. And Allie said they were all non-white.
Mm-hmm.
And I said they were all non-human. And?
This is the only TNG episode where a multi-person landing party is not made up of at least one member that is 100% human?
Boom!
Affirmative.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
Okay. The landing party consisted of Lieutenant Commander Data, android, Lieutenant Commander Troy, half Betazoid, Lieutenant Solar, Vulcan, and Lieutenant Worf, Klingon.
Hell yeah.
So, I don't know that. Maybe I'll give you a half a point for that, because you didn't say
fully human.
You just said no humans, but there were half humans.
Fine, I'll take the half a point.
So you get a half a point for your half humans.
Semantics.
Right.
I know, right? I'm just gonna be.
I will take that half a point. Thank you very much.
Petty as a can.
Next week, we'll be reviewing Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 7, Unnatural Selection. And joining us now from the future is Jessie B. of the Crusher Convo podcast. Jessie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You may regret it. Okay, Becca, No.
No, I'm so excited.
So this episode, the crew grapples with a mysterious disease, which accelerates the aging process, causing humans to die of old age within a matter of days. This is a rewrite of the original series episode. I don't remember this, though.
I do, because Pulaski was the one who got turned old.
Oh,
remember?
That's right. This is the one weird trick where they run her backwards through the transporter or whatever. It magically solves the problem or whatever.
Control Z.
Yeah. So many things, but yeah.
It's funny how they didn't do it more often, like you just said. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this person's sick. Why don't we just go put them backwards and take them?
Exactly. All right. Well, none of this likely has anything to do with the question. So, Becca, what is our question for Unnatural Selection?
How many takes did it take for Jonathan Frakes to correctly deliver the line, initiate the quarantine transmitters on the Lantry, and activate her marker beacons?
Jesus Christ. See? Nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. I got it in one take.
You did. You sure
well
did.
Done, you. Well done, you.
I'm going to, because his nickname was Two Takes Frakes, and that's also mostly for his directing, but I'm going to say 2.
Nice.
Okay.
I'd say 10. Maybe I saw this in a blooper or something.
Yeah,
like one
maybe.
of those blooper
Where he just flubs
reels.
it over and over.
Or we can do Price is Right rules.
Closest without going over?
Well, I'm going to go over because my answer is going to be 69. All right. Well, we're locking in our answers. Answers locked in. All right. Well, that yodeler is going up the hill, and if you want to play along, you know how to do that. Head out to your social media, share this episode, use the hashtag Starfleet Challenge, give us a call, 920-550-TREK, leave us a message, send us an email, all the ways to reach out to us, and we will pick out a winner. Join us next week as we talk about this episode with Jessie B of the Crusher Convo podcast, coming back for the whole episode. We'll be talking about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 7, Unnatural Selection. Glory to your house.
Look, make it so, number 1. God damn
it. Damn. Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.